All right, so let's talk credit card debt. Now, every single person knows that credit card debt is bad, yet if you look at the statistics, it's kind of scary how much credit card debt exists in this country. And here's why: is because interest rates on credit cards are way higher than almost any other kind of debt. Yeah, there's more risk to the insurance or to the credit card companies than other certain debts. It's uncollateralized debt, so on and so forth. But when people do this, they're financing their current lifestyle at the expense of their future. And I want to show you how important it is to pay down your credit card debt as quickly as possible from a numbers perspective, because I think everybody kind of knows subconsciously that it's not good, that credit card debt is toxic and destructive and all that stuff, but few people understand the long-term ramifications. Now, here's the thing. This is why. See, once again, you have your whole circle of wealth. This is your whole financial life right here, right? But let's break it up and let's say, okay, out of this, you have your credit card debt as a sliver. And if you have credit card debt, you don't just have that credit card debt. You have the interest you pay on that credit card debt. And then you have the opportunity cost, because every time you make an interest payment, that is transferring that money out of your control unnecessarily into somebody else's control, into the credit card company's control. And that opportunity cost, what could you have earned on that money had you been able to earn a rate of return and invested or save that money? And I'm going to show you why credit card companies love lending people money on their credit cards. And here's the thing. So I'm going to make these numbers a little more maybe real life for some people. I know the average credit card debt in this country is over $15,000, but I don't want to do that. I don't want it to be that high. I'm going to bring it down to 15% because that's the average credit card rate. And I'm going to say if you had earned a 5%, because actually let's just go 6% because that'll be, a lot of people think they can get 6%. It's a little more risk, but we'll just go with that for now. And so what I want to do here is show you what the numbers mean long term. Now, the amount of interest that you pay, you can see if you have $5,000 and you have a 15% interest rate, you're paying $809 in interest just year one, right? And you can see here, I could scroll through and double it up. If you keep that interest or your credit card balance at that rate, that number, you're going to pay $809 a year per year on interest alone. That's not including whatever principal you're paying, whatever your minimum payment towards your principal, whatever. That's just the interest. And now let's see here. If you just got to 5,000 bucks, it's in the middle of year 6, literally, that the company's breaking even. And if you look at a lifetime of working and career, that's not a very long period of time for them to really come out ahead. Now you can see here, year 20, you're going to have paid for $5,000 of rolling balance of credit card debt. You will have paid $16,000 just in interest to have access to that $5,000 for stuff that you've spent maybe 20 years before if you're just paying the minimums. And obviously that doesn't make any sense. The question is, what could you have earned if you had invested that money at 6%, at a 6% rate of return? Well, the answer is $30,000, right? I could change that to a more, but we're going to go with the 6% here for the sake of this conversation. It's close to $30,000 that you could have earned had you just taken that $5,000 and saved it. So the expense is kind of crazy that you could have earned 30, but instead you paid 15. So that's a $45,000 swing over a 20-year period. That's a lot of money for most people. And if you look at over a 40-year period, the numbers get even more astronomical. Why? Because compounding works one way or the other. If you remember, I said Albert Einstein, one of his most famous quotes is, compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. And you can see here, people who have credit cards and who rely on credit cards for their standard of living are people who simply don't understand compounding interest. And if they did, they'd be paying off those credit cards as quickly as possible. Because here's the deal. The credit card companies, yeah, there's risk. Yeah, people default on credit cards all the time. But when they're charging 15%, that means as you start paying them, what do? They open it back up and they invest in other people getting credit cards, charging them money, getting that bigger 15% rate of return. There's nowhere in the world that you're going to be able to get a 15% rate of return on any relatively secure basis except for credit card companies lending out money to people to just kind of swipe and spend, and they can avoid delaying gratification. They can get that immediate gratification by just saying, you know what, I don't have the money for it, but I'm going to charge it, and they do that. And you can see here that the potential amount available to a lender if they just lend that money at 15% is over $2 million over a 40-year period. And you can see where's the growth. Once again, the growth is between year 20 and 40. That's why compounding interest, understanding it and regaining control of that, and not paying that to the banks and not paying that to the credit card companies is essential. Now, what I want you to do is, if you have this kind of credit card debt, it is absolutely imperative right now that you go through your insurance, that you go through your taxes, that you look at your pension funds, how you're funding your pension funds, that you look at all these different, your life insurances, you look at all these different things, and you try to make those efficient, and you take the extra cash flow that you can find out of those and just jam it into your credit card bills on top of what you're currently paying, and eliminate your credit card debt as absolutely quickly as possible, because for your financial future, there is nothing more important than you can do than eliminating your credit card debt.